Alright, so these are my thoughts on Of Stars and Men. So this is based on some old novel that some guy wrote. Again, I don't really have the resources to just look at it while I'm recording this, but yeah, it's based on some old book. Um, and yeah, the so I'm gonna have to like really rack my brain to remember all the details about this one. Um, but yeah, it's the basic premise of the movie is that it kind of like gives you a bit of an idea how like basically how the universe works. It like talks about space, time, matter, and there was something else in there. I forget what. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I guess for the time it was made, it was pretty insightful. Though by now, pretty much all the points made are kind of common knowledge by this point. I mean, not everyone knows them, but let's see. Hold on. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the obviously the book was meant to like make some points that might like you might say it kind of like it might have rubbed some people the wrong way, that kind of controversy, probably those religious people. Um, but yeah, by this point, pretty much all the points the book makes, and in effect, the movie itself, yeah, there's nothing we haven't all heard by this point, or at least most of us. But anyway, otherwise, it's an interesting little movie. I guess this one qualifies as a documentary, which I'm usually kind of reluctant to do. Well, there have been a couple documentaries that I've wanted to at least look into, but I haven't been able to find them anywhere. And there was one that I did watch, but I figured it didn't really qualify. Disney's Victory Through Air Power. I talked about it before. But yeah, this is an animated documentary. Showing like a bunch of it does kind of tell a story along with like explaining how these things work. And it's depicted through this young boy who becomes like the king of the world or something. He's like basically he represents man, or man. Try not to be too loud. There's people sleeping right now, but yeah. But yeah, we learned about space and how insignificant we are in the universe. Again, pretty common knowledge by now. And the basics of time, the basics of matter. And this movie does have a very unique animation style. There's two animators who worked on it. One was the director, the one like produced it or something. I forget, but yeah, they worked together to put this together. So and yeah, I did look up their work just to make sure I was right in my assumption that they worked on Sesame Street. Yeah, because like I looked at the animation style and I was like, this totally looks like something that would have been on Sesame Street back in the 60s or 70s. I mean, Sesame Street only aired like 1 year in the 60s, but yeah, in the 70s or something. Um, let's see. I mostly remember it for the animation style. There's only like a couple parts that I really remember, like how we're likely not alone in the universe, how we're probably quite insignificant. How aliens are smarter than us. That old cliche you've heard a million times by now. Um, there's this part where like the kid protagonist sees these two even younger kids, and these kids are like voiced by the kids of like the two people who did this were a husband and wife. Um, so it was their two kids who were like basically they were talking about matter, and they were talking about like the characters were like doing it while putting up like building blocks or something. Um, it was kind of an entertaining segment. There's but yeah, I don't remember too many of the details. But yeah, it's I mean, I remember the opening segment where it starts with like this lion who's like the king of all the creatures. He then passes the crown down to the boy who represents man, of course. Um, signifying that man has become the ruler, the dominant species, if you will. So yeah, he becomes the king, and there's this pretty funny bit where like he looks up in the sky and sees some weird. I forget what he sees, but he sees something crazy in the sky. It might have been like a thunderstorm or something, cloud, something like that. And then he like gets all hysterical. He runs and he puts on this voodoo mask or something, and then he starts running around trying to murder all these animals with an axe. It's just so over the top crazy that it's like easily one of the funniest bits. Like, it's like easily the funniest bit of the movie, and it's like, yeah, I don't know if it's really intentional or not, but it's pretty silly. Um, but yeah, I don't know if I have a whole lot else to say about this one. It's interesting. I don't know if I'd say it's like super entertaining or anything. There's some good animation in it, which can get entertaining at times, but I don't know. Because it's like a documentary, it does have the curse of getting just a little bit boring at points. Um, but yeah, if you're interested, this might be worth a watch. I think I still respect what they did, what they were going for with it. So for that, I think it deserves a 7 out of 10. Um, and yeah, and I don't have anything else to add right now, so I guess I'll just leave it at that for now. So yeah, mash it and smash it, signing off.